Yeah, we were just talking about because the sign of peace that came up with Christopher Carson's presentation for Fall Ministry Day. So anyway, there was a chicken pox epidemic at the seminary, and when Monsignor Dolan was rector, and you have to know a little Latin, right? I mean, I suppose, Pax Christi, or Pax Tibi, peace be with you. And so Monsignor Dolan was celebrating an early mass, and so he turned to, there were a lot of priests that were at that mass, and it was time to offer each other a sign of peace. So he turns to the guy next to him, he's like, pox! Chicken pox! And he slaps the guy in the back, like, pox, you get it, it's double entendre. And the other guy's like, it's 6:30 in the morning. he's turning these jokes. And I mean, obviously, what always makes people laugh is how funny the guy laughs at his own joke. I mean, that's kind of like what they call infectious humor. All right, well, here we go. We're going to get started. Hello, we're going to talk about, communication, because right now I have a Fitbit. It gets me going because I'm getting old. That's what people tell me. And I get my steps in or something, but my Fitbit's not talking to my phone, and they're supposed to communicate, so I can't register how many steps. And isn't that the whole point? I mean, so I get more steps than everybody else, and then I can brag about it, which becomes a point of hubris. But when people don't communicate, which does happen, we get discouraged, and we just kind of shut things down. But if we can talk, or at least send an email, text, snail mail, carrier pigeon, Pony Express. We had a couple of little things just happen there, technical difficulties, but talking, communicating, silent treatment is not healthy for any sort of friendship, especially between a Fitbit and a phone. What I really want to talk to you about today is it's St. John Paul II, right? He 2005, he died on April 2nd, which I thought might be his feast day, but it's today because it was his inaugural Mass as a Holy Father in 1978. He gave the famous homily about be not afraid, said it a number of times with real passion, and it was kind of he was 58, and boy, there was still fire in the belly then. You could go through a wall for that guy. A lot of stories about St. John Paul. One was Tommy Lasorda. We were just talking baseball, and maybe I've shared this before, but Lasorda is a Catholic and longtime manager of the Dodgers. I hate to mention them right now, but Lasorda got a chance to meet the Pope, gave him a baseball as a gift, and the Pope signed it and gave it right back. So it's like, he must have seen it on TV. This seems like deja vu. Did I tell this story before? Feels like I have. There was a big priest from the Twin Cities got a chance to meet the Pope. Wanted to say something. This guy's like 6'5", 350, big guy. He wanted to say something to the Pope, but all of a sudden, the guy, John Paul was right in front of him, and he just lost his composure. He blurted out, he's like, Holy Father, where do you get the best pizza in Rome? And the Pope reaches up, grabs his big cheek, and says, looks like you already found it. So John Paul was famous for many things, but of course his courage, especially, he had a lot of suffering in his life. Lost his mom, and then his dad, and then his brother, and all the physical suffering. I mean, he was shot, should have died. He used to say that one finger pulled the trigger, the other finger guided the bullet. That other finger was our Blessed Mother. It was the feast of Our Lady of Fatima. And then at the end of his life, all the suffering, he couldn't walk, and that brings us closer to people, isn't it? Their heroic suffering, when people are brave. Well, you see that you can sometimes intuit that people have chronic pain, or they have just the limitations and how they face it. That actually is a very beautiful witness about who we really are. It's where compassion comes from, courage in suffering. We face our own, and then we can help others to face theirs. As I think of Pope John Paul today, I think of all the people around the world everyone is suffering something. We can be pretty brave. How you doing? Doing great. Never better. Best day of my life. I must be running for office. Because we know that deep down, everyone has pain, not just the physical stuff either. So we ask the Lord to give us courage, and out of that comes compassion, so we can really be present to each other. My Fitbit and my phone, they're not talking, but who cares? Those are inanimate objects. If you and I stop talking, my dad used to always say that talking to a person is a method of loving, and listening to another person is even a deeper lesson of loving. So I do all the talking here, which is what I prefer. You have to do all the listening. Talk about suffering. But even so, these are blessings. So let's sing St. John Paul II, pray for us. God bless you. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
I didn't tell those stories before?
I remember the time. That's a great story.
Yeah, he signed the baseball and gave it to him. He was like, I mean, the whole point was here's a baseball. He signs it and gives it back. Like, he must have seen like that's an American pastime. They do it other places too.
Yeah.
You know, like soccer, they sign the jersey and, you know, or whatever. But
That story gets better with every next sentence because then there's that. Well, then there's the pizza.
oh yeah, and he looks like you already found it.